Welcome everybody to Dungeon Brew. This is our first campaign we're doing live on the channel. This is called the 9th Ascension, and it is going to be a 12-session episodic campaign that we do. Around the table you see our general gaming group, a lot of folks here, Greg, Todd, John, and Jason, and you'll probably get to learn a little bit more about each one of us individually when we begin the podcast, which will be premiering shortly after this episode. But without further ado, I think everyone's ready. We're going to dive right into this campaign of the 9th Ascension.
Welcome to Dungeon Brew.
We are going to begin in the Gilded Age, 1298 of the Ageless Era, along the northeasternmost reaches of Sodis-Dar, in the coastal city of 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻. The settlement is the primary home to the long-living humanoids called the Stuhia, or Stuhians, a sort known to manipulate the 8 cruxes of existence using 𝐾𝐨𝐺, a word that means sorcery, which is synonymous with the magic that the Stuhians wield. Now, for 881 years, Stuhians' history has chronicled the worship of the goddess of the netherworld, Marhina, who is said to be the source of their incredible magic. In the city, guided by the Archon and the Carrion Council, the Stuhian people have thrived in their political theocracy. The only risks to their existence have been the 𝐵𝐵𝐺ari, which are shape-shifting humanoids to the north, and the 3-headed dragons they hunt, as well as other beasts that roam nearby on the land and sea. Though their allied Ispolini, which are the 6-fingered giants to the south, have helped them mitigate some of these issues, as well as coming from time to hunt the 3-headed dragons that live in the mountains nearby. Now, in recent years, 9 years to be exact, a Stuhian sect has made the claim that Volos, the horned god and the protector of the eternal Fallows, is their true source of magical prowess and is owed eternal Stuhian servitude if their people ever wish to enter Thrice Tin Kingdom. Volos is known to be the god of the dead. He's the father of dragons. He's revered as the Stuhians' greatest enemy, or he's revered by the Stuhians' greatest enemy, the 𝐵𝐵𝐺ari. And there's been this ongoing war for centuries between the Stuhians and the 𝐵𝐵𝐺ari that has been symbolic of the same winter struggle that is eternally fought between the deities of Marhina and Volos. Therefore, for many Stuhians, the suggestion of switching allegiances to Volos has been sacrilege, but the majority, including the current Archon or the King, Lazar Benjamin, believes it to be a path to peace and eternal salvation. So our story begins in the Bronze Age, late spring, overlooking the large settlement of 𝐿𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻. It is late afternoon, near supper time, and soon the sun will be finishing its descent in the west. We are going to see the Temple of Marhina on the southern side of the town, behind the curtain walls, created from large stones and mortar. The temple is this beautiful spectacle, erected with more care than the walls, with every stone cut to a square and stacked to precision to create this 3-story structure. Some would even say that it was more radiant in its design than the imperial family's home, which is sitting not more than 200 feet away. And we are going to descend now on the 2nd floor of that Temple of Marhina to see 𝐸𝐸. He is standing in this room. He's glowing yellow and orange from scattered candles. He's meticulously arranging the magical items within. The air is crackling with ancient energy. The room is resonating with whispers of power. Its shelves are laden with Stuhian artifacts forged with the blood of dragons and the mystical essence of 𝐾𝐨𝐺 over the last 500 years and more. 𝐸𝐸, would you like to describe your character?
Sure. 𝐸𝐸 is a cleric of sorts. Average build, average height, very long, light red hair, kind of reminiscent of a sunset. He has ice blue eyes, and the garment he's wearing is kind of long, flowing, goldish almost. It's kind of like a molten gold that flows from him. And he is as I said, about average height, average build. Nothing extraordinary about this man, other than what he does for his occupation.
Yeah, he is the sacristan of the temple who catalogs these magical artifacts that exist there. 𝐸𝐸, can you start by rolling me a wisdom check? Oh, very good. Yeah, so 𝐸𝐸, you are inspecting each of these artifacts, notating in your ledger what is there, and everything should be in place. You're going to find several items that are within the ferretery in which you're standing. There's the 𝐸𝐸 cladinet, which is a self-swinging blade infused with frost of an ice serpent. There's 𝐃𝐨𝐬�'s guards, which are wrist guards that are said to have claimed the strength of a fire drake, radiating heat even at a distance from where you're standing at. And then there is 𝐸𝐤𝐤𝐿 gaze, which is a gemstone amulet, and it's pulsating with this power that was absorbed through the breath of a storm dragon. Carefully, again, you're notating each of these in the ledger, knowing full well that you are not allowed to remove any of these without the approval of the Archon, who is now standing politically against you and the Carian Council within the Temple of Marhina. And in the midst of your meticulous cataloging, Eretamir War, a towering emissary from the Ispolini, is going to enter the ferretery. He's only arrived this afternoon after a long journey from his home, bringing with him the shipment of bronze axes to deliver to the council. This, of course, was a scheme to bring him into the city without alerting the Archon of his true intentions. He's going to come in behind you within this large room. It's almost 70 by 70 feet wide. There's several little alcoves on either end of the room itself here on the second floor. There's a circular area with walls that have like these stone ingresses that have been moved out of the way by magic to give you access to the magical items where you're standing. And he's going to walk up behind you with his imposing shadow kind of filling the room. His eyes gleaming with intelligence. Eretamir, would you like to describe your character?
Yes, Eretamir is about 35 years old. He stands 7 foot 2 inches and weighs 360 pounds. He is a towering giant, and he has a very intimidating stature.
Anything else with him then?
That's pretty good for now.
All right, sounds good. So he's going to come into the room. You're going to come up behind 𝐸𝐸. You've been sent actually from the council in the main chapel area to come and fetch 𝐸𝐸 for a private meeting with them. But as you come into the room, I would like for you to roll me a wisdom check. Oh my gosh, I was going to check to see if that was a primary or secondary one for you, but with a 20, you are very quick to actually see a what's the word I'm looking for? A chalice that is sitting within this same area where 𝐸𝐸 is standing at, and you're going to recognize it from legends. It's called 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐞. It's crafted from the blood of a shadow draken. You're going to know that a drink each day will actually empower 𝐸𝐸ans with extra mana for their spells as they see this. And you know the long history of 𝐸𝐸ans using their magic and kind of empowering artifacts and weapons and armor and mundane devices to give them additional fortitude in battle in one way, shape, or form. And your eyes are going to fall on this as you're stepping into the room. I'm going to leave it up to the two of you to make an acquaintance.
So, as Edmure enters the room, 𝐸𝐸 will... He's aware of his coming. He's aware he's on his way. He will continue cataloging as there are other individuals in the room. And as he approaches, gets a little closer, he'll nod, close his book, put his pen and quill away, and just nod and greet him. Good afternoon.
Well, hello.
You are Eretamir, I assume?
Yes. And you are Mihail?
I'm 𝐸𝐸.
Well, Yes, sorry.
It is good for you to bring this shipment to us. The bronze axes will do nicely for our soldiers.
It helps us. Bringing these in brings up more business for us.
Indeed. If you'll follow me, I'll lead you where the shipment can be delivered.
Fine chalice over there.
And as you glance at that chalice again, Eretmir, you see the shape of a 𝐸𝐤𝐤 crafted around it. And unlike the three-headed dragons that you know roam the mountains adjacent to the city, the 𝐸𝐤𝐤 is a particularly interesting and ferocious creature with one singular head in the shape of a serpent that is known to even paralyze its victims. It's quite dangerous to fight.
I would enjoy taking down one of those, 𝐸𝐤𝐤.
Would 𝐸𝐤𝐤 know, obviously he knows about the artifact. Would I know anything about the creature that it's symbolizing there? Whereabouts, maybe even if these things are even still around?
Sure. Roll me an int check. So with a 15, you are aware that they still exist in the area. However, you've not seen one for some time. You know that, like their dragon cousins, they also have their own breath weapon that they can utilize, but it does more damage than what the dragons do themselves with individual breath weapons from each one of the three heads.
Okay. Specifically, any last sightings, anything like that, maybe of one?
I would say they typically don't come too close to 𝐸𝐤𝐤, but any of the soldiers who have marched out of the city gates to hunt 𝐵ukari, especially during the summertime, would have seen them in close proximity to the mountains. I wouldn't say that they're thick, but seeing one or two each year is not uncommon.
Azalant, the last we saw last summer, we saw one in the mountains, not too far back. Dangerous beasts, those.
Yes, my family love to converse with them.
Using converse lightly there.
Yeah, converse. Are you familiar with this chalice, though, of what it does?
You would be, 𝐸𝐤𝐤.
Okay. Aye, yes, I'm aware. It's one of many gifts.
Yes, many gifts from conversing with dragons. Well, shall we move on?
Indeed. Follow me, please.
All right, so together, 𝐸𝐤𝐤 and Eretmir will leave the Fredery. Their steps are going to echo through the temple halls as they make their descent towards the main chapel for this looming meeting with the Carian Council. In the interim, before you guys get there, 𝐸𝐤𝐤 will be able to show Eretmir where exactly the weapons should be placed in preparation for Mihail, who should be taking them to his soldiers upon reception. But before we move to Mihail and continue there, let's go ahead and just go one floor upwards to the third floor, where Don Mager will be working tirelessly underneath candlelight, arranging the books and keeping track of the different items within the library in the temple. This library, again, is nestled within these hollowed stone walls on the third floor. It's bathed again in a soft glow of candlelight. Don Mager is a young father, young in terms of Stuhian years, with a stern, somewhat weathered face. Knowing both loss and wisdom, he's carefully arranging those ancient tombs on the shelves. His 8-year-old daughter, Nadezhda, is sitting on a worn velvet cushion nearby, and her curious bright eyes beneath the red strands of hair are fixated on her father. Don, would you describe yourself?
Well, I think you just did.
But you'll do such a better job.
You just described him.
So yeah, he's got a weathered face. He does appear to be in his middle years, despite being relatively young in terms of Stygian longevity. There's actually some silver streaking through his red hair. He has a tendency to wear rather worn clothing. His robes are gray. They used to be black. His pouches used to be nice dark brown leather, and now they've kind of yellowed with age, and even his boots are scuffed and worn. The people who know him, they know that this is mostly about comfort. He definitely has the status and the a means of providing better for himself, but there's just a tendency for him to prefer the comforts of small things like that.
Very good. And again, he's sitting in a room that's almost the same size of the Fredere downstairs. There's some different areas that are locked up with special manuscripts and books that are kind of stored away and kept. For a long while, many of these manuscripts have detailed the chronicles of the Stygian people, the history of the Stygian people, but there has been, to his knowledge and knowing, that in recent years, with the rise of the Ninth Council, some of these have been taken by the Archon, ordered to be removed, and to your knowledge destroyed underneath the Archon's gaze. And you also know that your own council here within the temple of the Carrion Council has taken some of these and hidden them away so that those themselves were not taken. And so you're now just here kind of checking to see what is left and what remains. Your daughter is sitting again closely to you, Nadezhda, and she's going to turn and look at you and say, Tato, will we have to fight the 𝐾𝐨𝐬𝐵𝐻𝑖s soon?
I don't think we have to worry about that at all. Not anytime soon. And it's nothing you should worry about anyway.
But, Papa, they come every summer. What if they hurt us?
And they go away every summer too, don't they?
I suppose you're right, Papa. I feel as though I need you to teach me how to fight.
There'll be time for that later. Isn't it about time that you went and saw your Baba anyway?
And actually, in mentioning grandmother, who is going to come to the door, as Rosalia is Dawn's mother and grandmother to Nadezhda. She's going to come through, a shawl draped over her shoulders, to the doors, just barely hearing the end of the exchange between father and daughter. Her eyes carrying both pride but also a tinge of grief. Rosalia will look to you and say, your father speaks the truth, Nadezhda. You are destined for greatness. The power of Marhina flows through you, and in time you will understand the strength it brings. Never forget that you are a Megir. Don't forget what that means. And Nadezhda will look between the two of you, staying somewhat quiet, and kind of stomaching the words of the advice and wisdom that you both are providing. And Rosalia will look to you, Dawn. How are things going up here? Is your work almost finished for the day, my son?
It is. I have managed to create a few palimpsests, so that even though the words may be hidden, they may still remain. I've removed the ink from the pages, and we use our old pages to write new books, but you will not be able to see the old words, though they still remain.
Your gift in this task is commendable. It reminds me of the strength your father had before he died last year. He taught you well.
He did.
Well, if you will, I would like you to go and fetch Sir Caligula and return to the Reliquary. The council wishes to speak to you both about a private matter. I can watch Need until you return.
Sure. And Dawn will go and kneel down by Need and give her a hug. Alright, little one. I'll see you later. You'll be with Baba for a while, but I'll come back.
She will hug you tightly and then pull away with kind of a firm nod, and then go and rush to her grandmother, holding her hand.
With that, I'll kind of finish cleaning up my work area. Everything's very precise. All the pieces are exactly where they belong. I make sure that there's no evidence of the work that I'm doing and only the work that I'm supposed to be doing before I head off to go see the Caligula.
All right. Excellent. And so then we will move to the courtyard of the Caligula estate, located almost 300 feet to the northwest, also within the walls, where we hear the echo of the rhythmic clash of staves as Sir Mihail Caligula, formidable commander with a mane of unruly red hair, is looking over his voivodes, or lieutenants for a better term, his axemen and his bowmen that are practicing their training regimen in preparation of the Vukhari, who will soon be assailing upon them this summer, as they do every summer. The courtyard's dust is dancing in the air, bearing witness to the relentless discipline instilled by Mihail. Mihail, would you like to describe yourself in a bit more detail?
Sure. Mihail commands an imposing presence, speaking with authority all around him. He wears flowing, bright red robes that are reinforced with judicious placing of leather padding. He watches over his soldiers with a keen eye, watching for any mistakes that they might do, and will reprimand swiftly for anything they misstep.
All right, very good. So he's watching from a little bit further back, entering the courtyard as you're examining your soldiers. Comes Serdar Gabriel Caligula, who is your uncle. He is the leader of the armies in general, overseeing all of them. So while you have command over your own companies of soldiers, he's considered kind of like the overseeing general commander of all the armies of the Styuhians. He's going to approach you. His gaze is sharp. It's unwavering. The Skinsvitches are at our doorstep. Their shadows linger beyond the city walls. Are you ready for them?
We'll drive them back. No one will be in danger within the city. Good.
Good, Son Mihail. Your men are strong, disciplined. But we face a threat that requires more than just muscle and catastrophe. He's going to give you this stern expression that's going to deepen a bit, and his voice is going to come low. You're going to almost hear this rumble coming up from his chest as he harshly speaks under his breath so that only you can hear him and not your voivodes at either end of the courtyard. The time is coming when you must choose between the old ways that brought us power and a new path that will ensure our survival. Dorothy, your stubborn father, clings to the outdated traditions. We cannot afford such sentimentality in the Erheim.
Sentimentality has no place on the battlefield.
True, and Dorothy, your father, Mihail, has grown weak and blind to the dangers that threaten our family. The town follows strength, not nostalgia. You have to choose wisely, Mihail, for the survival of our family's legacy, and the Styuhians depend on it.
I'm gonna give him a tight-lipped smile and nod after he says that.
Yeah, you very much have seen him spending additional time with the Archon, talking in private. The Archon who's been swayed by the Ninth Council, and it appears as though your uncle's heart has also been swayed in a similar manner. He's going to say, good. It's good that you understand. You're smarter than your father. But listen, there's a task that must be done, and it has to be done quickly. You need to take a few men to the crossroads tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, take some men. Our scouts have suggested that the Vukhari may have made camp. We need to know the movements of the Skinsvitches outside the walls. And Mihail, work your soldiers and voivodes harder. I see too much warmth in their eyes, and we cannot afford complacency. The time for action is now.
I agree. Do you have any more solid information on these Lucari?
I hear that it's not many that have moved about, but there's concern that they have discovered an underwater cave where they may be bringing supplies in from the Nebu Sea to the north into our lands to be able to offboard and prepare defenses to attack the city. You may have remembered years ago they snuck in as rats, slaughtered many of our good men and women.
I assume the way they snuck in is being watched or has been locked up since then, yes?
It has been, but Vukari have their ways. You know how their vile magic twists them into birds and vermin, snakes even. Who knows how they may come in this time. I've already ordered the men on the walls and the other sirs to order their bowmen to shoot down any birds that fly within 100, 200 paces of the city.
A rational course of action. I will get my men prepared to ride in the morning.
And he will nod at you, and with that, he will begin to move away, and you're able to then turn and see two of your voivodes. You have Jarek Braz, who is overseeing the Axemen, which is one of your companies, and then you also have Damard, who is overseeing the bowmen in the courtyard. Anything else that you would like to do as you're watching them?
I'll whistle for them to come over.
Okay. Damard Bayorek, I should have given his last name. So yeah, they will both move over to you as the Surtur leaves the courtyard and heads his own way.
Let's see.
I should give you, I guess, a bit of description of each one of these gentlemen. So Jarek is the younger of the two, the one that oversees your axemen. He has a goatee, long red hair, wearing pretty fine leather armor, holds himself with a very good sense of authority, light eyes. As for Damard, you can see that he has utilized quite a bit of magic in his time. As we all know, Styuhians don't age unless they're casting magic. This has only started to occur over the last few centuries, where they've started to see their life drain when they use magic. Tales tell that this did not used to be the case. They used to be able to cast freely without the aging consequence, and now that is something that's very prominent within the society. Damard has a cul-de-sac of hair. It's graying all around the edge. His long mustache is also gray. All the red that was there when he was younger is gone. And he himself is a healer among the Styuhians. So he casts sacred magic, and you can see he's only got a few years left. Much more casting on the battlefield, and he will perish.
Okay. Alright. So when they come over, I'll nod at them and say, we have orders to move out in the morning. I need you to set up 3 scouting groups before the rest of the men march out. I believe we were told to move to the north.
It is a bit to the north, yes, to the crossroads.
Okay, yeah. We need to move towards the crossroads. There's scouts report Vukari are invading in that area. We don't have exact numbers. I want people to be careful. I don't want anyone hurt. These things have to be eradicated.
Sir, I do not mean to question, but only look for clarification. I will speak to Mard. Are you asking us to march out all 60 men in scouting groups and leave the city less defended?
No, I need 3 groups of 5 people each.
And
2 archers, 3 axemen.
Very well, and you're wanting to lead one of them and us lead the other 2?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, we will find our best soldiers and put them to the task. Where should we meet you in the morning?
I assume there's a north gate.
Yeah.
Or something?
You're probably going to want the East Gate, but yes.
Okay. We'll
Yeah.
meet at the East Gate.
All right. Excellent. They'll both dip their heads. At your command. Anything else, sir?
Not at the moment. Resume your drills.
All right. They will both move away, immediately barking orders again, with the same harshness that they are familiar with from their commander. And as they walk away, we will see Don Mager then eventually making his way to the courtyard to speak with Mihail.
Okay, so I'll come into the courtyard and walk pretty directly toward Mihail, ignoring his voivodes and the soldiers there. Mihail, sir, Mihail, my apologies. How are your troops shaping up?
They are doing well in their drills today. We'll be able to test them out thoroughly on the morrow.
Oh, some action, finally. It is that time of year.
It seems they want to start the season off early.
It does. Well,
What can I do for you, Mr. Mager?
I thought we might go get a drink, go on a walk for a ways, see what the city sights have to offer, especially if you're going to be dancing with death tomorrow.
A drink before a battle isn't a bad idea.
Oh. Besides, I wanted to tell you some of the work I've been doing. Been very busy lately.
I'd love to hear all about it.
Okay, so I'll kind of begin walking off with Sir Mihail. As we're departing, I'll kind of whisper more specific details and provide more information to him of where we're going and what we're actually after.
All right. So you guys will make your way then back to the Temple of Marhina to meet with the Carian Council. By this time, Erdmir and Ț'răcan are probably already laying in wait for everyone to arrive. All right. So we will then move. We will then move to the main chapel within the Temple of Marhina, where the four of you will gather in front of the Carian Council. There are 5 members of whom you all are familiar with. Even Erdmir, who is an outsider, is familiar with these 5 individuals who have long been the standing members in the theocracy that have had so much say over legislation, law, rule within the city, as well as engagement with Tundris Moor and the Ispalini that reside within. So these 5 members make up the council. They're influential figures within 𝐸𝐸, at least they have been, and they're gathered underneath what is called the Zenaki. This is an ancient marking that is embedded on the ceiling that prevents the wielding of 𝐾𝐨𝐴 within the temple in this chapel. Dorofe Caligula is the father of Mihail. He's standing at the center. Strangely enough, even though he is the oldest in the room by centuries, he actually looks younger than his son. He's got bright blue eyes, smooth skin. His hair is short cut, and he looks almost as though he is straight out of youth, like entering his younger years, despite being several centuries old. Dragoslav Ț'răcan is next to him. He leans forward as you approach, running a hand through his long red beard. He's exchanging glances with Asteria Amaria, who is the mother to Ț'răcan. Her hair is short in an attempt to hide her aging, but there's actually wrinkles at the corners of her eyes, and her neck are obvious. Of course, Ț'răcan is what is called a forged child. He was actually created through a same-sex couple within 𝐸𝐸, forged through magic between his 2 mothers to be created, which causes them to age a little bit during that process. But she too looks fairly young, despite this that has taken place. Next to them is Rosalia Mager. This is Dawn's mother, who we saw earlier. She too looks younger than her son, but the years of loss, including her own husband, who died at the maw of the gold dragon, 𝐥𝐤𝐤 last summer is weighing pretty heavy on her heart. She's going to stiffen at the approach of the party, while Serena Assad, the fifth member, is going to be standing vigilant at her side. And if we look at Serena, she probably looks to be the oldest among them. Standing there, again, she's not. Dorothy ages her significantly, but she looks as though she has used magic some in her time. So her hair is more thinned out. There's just small patches of gray there as she's looking over all of you as you're coming and approaching. So as you approach, Dorothy will be the first to speak. Welcome, my son, and truce to Hiens. Myself and the esteemed members have brought you together to discuss the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, yes? As my father Gaius foretold, a time would come when our way would be tested. Stand strong together, we must, yes. The Ninth Council is a shadow over our people, and endure its passing, we will. And Dragoslav will then again acknowledge you, leaning even further forward if it's possible, saying, we are currently seeking the location of pieces we need to create the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. We have located the first, and we need to act swiftly and discreetly. And I say, time is not in our favor. And then Asteria, nodding. Every day our rights are being stripped away under the changing theocracy. It's been 6 months since the Archon outlawed any metallurgy, which is why we have had to increase our imports from Tundras Moor for weapons. 𝐿tymir has come under the guise of delivering axes for Sir Mihail's soldiers, and will only have a 10-day to aid us, while we try to collect his payment. And they're going to pause there for a moment to see if there's any responses to what they've shared so far.
Mother, where did you leave Need? I thought I left her with you.
I promise she is fine, my son. She is playing in her room with her toys.
And
The
who's
attendants.
watching her?
My attendants are tending to her.
Good. Now, yes, the 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞. We'll see to collecting what you need for it.
The 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, Insha's going to respond, going to be a book that has to withstand the pressures of time. And these artifacts that we need, as you well know, my son, can help us make it so it will not only last centuries, but millennia if need be. And for all of you, like this is meaningful to you. You guys are ageless humanoids, so to speak. So when you think of things, you don't have the same emotional response a lot that you may see out of mortal beings. You guys recognize that things rise and fall. There's a time and a place for all things. And hopefully this ascension of the Ninth Council is one of those things that will just essentially come up and fall back away. And you as a people can return back to the way that things should be, the way that things are meant to be. And so what you're seeing displayed by the council here is like this hope of not falling into an emotional display of like not this emotional like pulling and knee-jerk reaction to what's happening, but instead like how do we secure things right now and kind of let this tide fall.
Have we had much interaction with peoples who are shorter lived? I'm not sure how long the 𝐸spellini live.
The 𝐸spellini actually are shorter lived. That's them, and the 𝐵ukari themselves are both shorter lived.
But
The
we don't
𝐸spellini
actually interact with the 𝐵ukari outside of war, so we probably don't see how long they actually live.
Yeah, they live pretty shortly because of the the hellfire you rain down on them. But the Stuhia, I'm sorry, not Stuhia, the 𝐸spellini only lived to be about 80 years.
Okay, so, but yeah, so we only have brief, or it's only been in the last few hundred years that we've encountered this 𝐸spellini, that we've been aware of the shorter-lived peoples.
Yes.
Okay.
What would you have us do?
Roselia will be the one that responds, kind of raising an eyebrow. Well done, Sir Khan, Sir Mihail 𝐿tymir. You are our chosen agents for this task. 3 of you were meant to sit in these seats, and so Marhina willing, you are charged to do what you can to secure the future where yourselves or your own children can return to a place of power and authority without dividing those that we are meant to rule. Secrecy is paramount, and the fate of 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 and our people rests on your success. These items, 5 of them there will be, have to be acquired without arousing suspicion. And before she even has a moment to, say anything more, it'll be Apophis' mother goes, "Enough! They need to know what to retrieve. The first item is going to be a quill, cut from the neck of a very young green wormling. It cannot be any older than a year, which means it should be no more than 2 feet in length. If the quill has formed into a spike, it'll be useless to us. You have to go out and slaughter this young green wormling and remove this quill and bring it back to us as the first item. It has to be thin enough to hold the ink that we will later collect once we have located the ink needed in order to write upon the parchment, or the vellum."
And where would we find a year-old dragon?
Rosalia will answer you. This is what we are currently been doing, is finding a location for each one of these to be able to send you. There is a den that is located south of the crossroads to the east, where you may find what we seek. But you have to be careful not to alert a larger beast. And she's going to kind of make eyes at Eretmir. No matter how much you desire to slaughter or a larger beast, you have to remember that the fate of 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 rests on your shoulders, and this is only the first task. Also, you have to remember not to forget your other duties. You have to maintain your roles in society foremost, or the city thrives on balance and we cannot give away any suspicion.
Do you really think this council will survive?
Dorothy will be the one that responds. It will not survive the test that we are currently facing, but it may be birthed anew if we're able to accomplish this. If we risk the knowledge...
us through.
That is my hope too. If we risk the knowledge of the Varkalok falling into the wrong hands, we will not survive. If the Ninth Council learns of it, or the Archon, if they understand what it is that we are scheming, then we will not even have the opportunity to see the Carrion Council come back from the ashes. The Ninth must think us compliant in their ascension, and Archon Benjamin must see us doing nothing more than accepting his smooth transition. He has already limited our funds. He has taken the money that we collect and has turned that to the Ninth. They are now those that are going out and collecting taxes to bolster themselves. Our coffers are running low. They have already eliminated the ability to make weapons, which was already mentioned, yes. And who knows what other laws will be coming down in the days to come that will limit our reach and our ability to see this through.
And what is your plan to change that tide? The Varkalok certainly will give us a record and give us knowledge, but it will not change that tide.
If I were to be honest with you, and before you continue, it'll be Dragoslav who'll speak up. If we're going to be honest, we are not sure what will come of the 5 of us sitting in these seats. The Varkalok is meant to be a weapon for you to use and to find a path forward once it's secured. Because it may very well be, as the Ninth continues to raise to power and we are limited, that we are seen as threats and either banished or cut down within the city. And you, our children, their children, not mine, you, it is going to be up to you to carry on the family names and the legacies. Already, and he's going to point over to Serana. Serana's son has joined the Ninth. He is there, he has been swayed, he now pays homage to Volos. She has no hope, despite her loyalty, of seeing her family live beyond what she is fighting for right now. It is going to be up to you 3 to use the Varkalok and choose how best it can be used to see the Carrion Council come back to power. And Asteria will add to that in looking again to Eretmir. And we hope that the 7 down in Tundras Moor will remain loyal to Marhina as well. And that they will continue to back us. Their years are younger. They will not last as long, but hopefully the stories do not fade. And they will continue to be allies to the true Stuhians, to those that worship Marhina.
While this meeting is long, our faith does not waver. I'm ready to go do as you ask, and bring back the creature you would like.
Or
We appreciate-
the pieces you seek.
Yeah, with the mention of that, and of course Don, of course, correcting a little bit, it'll be a surrender. I'll be like, do not bring the entire creature through the gates, Ertemir. Just a quill from its neck. And she's going to also caution, and do not forget that touching the skin of these creatures, especially for Stuhians, can be very dangerous. It'll be Eretmir that will have to carry it, for he is immune to the poison in which they seep.
Well, you said to the south, then.
Yes, south of the crossroads, which are a bit to the north, but south of them, near the bordering of the Shade Fells, there is a cave that the several green dragons have seen staying within. Dragoslav will say, if there's nothing more, I would encourage you to head to the tavern, have a drink, have conversation, just stay private and do not alert suspicion, but enjoy the evening, show Eretmir a good time, buy him a few meals.
It's only dinner left today.
And Serena will say, you are the unseen guardians, serving in the shadows. The Varkalok is a means to safeguard Lerheim. Remember, it is not meant to dominate it.
I'll give a short bow or whatever is respectful for my position.
I will
Turn
bow
on my
as well.
heel and exit.
Okay.
Dawn will follow suit.
Eretmir will bow and follow.
All right. If you give me just a moment, I'm guessing we're going to head then to the tavern.
It seems that way. Seems like we were
alright.
ordered to go get Eretmir a drink.
He's
Seems
gonna,
a bad place for
Clandestine.
secret conversation, but
Subterfuge. And
they said go to the tavern.
go feed this man.
Well, I think I would have enough sway to get a private room, a private dining room or something.
It's
At
the
a tavern,
Bronze Age.
yes.
There's not really private rooms in the Bronze Age for such
It's
things.
called outside.
It's called outside.
Really?
In all honesty, like
They don't have separate rooms for royal patrons?
the
Noble
way
patrons?
Well, I
The
think
way-
it's a tavern or an ale house. I don't think it's an inn.
Yeah, it's not an
Yeah.
inn. Inns didn't really exist back then. There used to be what were considered to be like how was I'm looking for? There was like town houses where the poor could sleep. But then there was also ale houses where you could go get like maybe a drink and some food. Ale houses themselves were oftentimes actually just like the homes of individuals where you could come by and get things. I've taken some creative luxury in developing a longer hall for you guys to be in that can hold more people because Lerheim is a bit advanced for their age, even though it's the Bronze Age. But they don't have like your typical like medieval style taverns. In fact, it's actually called a pub more than a tavern. It's a public house, and so it's called a pub house.
In the realm of Eonar, nestled within the expansive tapestry of thrice 9 lands, the Gilded Age is coming to an end. In the coastal city of Lerheim, ageless Stuhians, devout to the frozen witch, harness the power to wield the same energy that stitches together reality. Yet winds of change whisper the name of Volos, the Horned God. The Ninth Council rises, and our heroes, staunch Carrion loyalists, embark on expeditions to safeguard Stuhian history, while defending against their wicked enemies. The celestial dance of Marhina's worshippers is disrupted by the growing shadow of Volos, and the imminent clash between the Carrion and Ninth Councils threatens to reshape the very fabric of ANR. Amidst this turmoil, our heroes navigate treacherous landscapes, from the frozen vase where dragons roam to the hidden conclaves of the bloodthirsty skin-switches. Each expedition reveals fragments of a forgotten past, hidden truths, and the intricate connections between �ฑ magic and the divine realms. As the �ฑians grapple with the choice between allegiance to Marina or Volos, loyalty becomes a precious commodity. Our carrion heroes, entrusted with preserving �ฑian heritage, face moral dilemmas, forge unlikely alliances, and confront the shadows that lurk within their own ranks. The world of ANR awaits, a canvas painted with hues of enchantment and conflict. Will our heroes unravel the secrets that bind Thrice Nine Lands, or will they succumb to the inevitable tide of a revolution? Brace yourself for an episodic tale, where every choice resonates across the realms, shaping the destiny of ANR itself.
All right, welcome back. We are now going to move our way to the public house called The Pub. It is ran by Proden Dworzak. You guys will be able to come in and find a table. There's a number of folks that are kind of scattered about, patrons in the area that you guys can see that are there. There's Ellen Chinassard and her husband, who is a miller that runs an area nearby. You guys have a fisherman that's there. You'll actually see Hail that one of your Vovodes is there with one of your soldiers that are kind of eating and hanging out at one of the tables. But you guys will come in and you will find a seat. Shortly, you will have Proden come and approach your table and say, "Welcome. Good to see all of you. That's such a long day. We have a number of specials and foods and drinks. If there's anything I can get for you. Is there something specific that you may be looking for? Or do you just want the full list?"
What's the house special this evening?
We have some fried sea bass that's smothered in a sausage gravy. Comes with a small piece of cheddar cheese, if you're interested. We also have a few left, I believe, of red deer thighs, some venison that's covered in a red pepper sauce, also with some cheese.
I'll take venison. You don't put fish with cheese. And sausage.
I'll take the venison as well, please.
I think I'm going to go the same.
Bring on the fish.
Very good. 3 venison, 6 silver pieces apiece, and fish, also 6 silver. Any drinks you'd like. We have a lager, a stout, a cider, an ale.
I'll take a stout, please.
Preferring a wine, I could do that too.
Stout, man.
Ale.
Yeah.
Stout.
Wine.
Okay, so the stout's a silver piece. The ale is just a couple of copper. Wines, I have a red, black currant, and a hazelweed.
Hazelweed.
Just 2 copper for that. I will be right back with your order. And with that, he will scurry back behind the counter to go yell at the cook for some food to make for each one of you. Quickly telling them that we should stop serving sausage gravy and cheese with fish, because the only people that will eat that are the giants of the South. And you guys are free to converse, to move around the tavern if you so choose, as you guys are sitting there and talking. Most of the individuals, of course, are familiar. I mean, there's �ฑians. It's, even though it's somewhat of a large settlement, there's a lot of history. Like I said, you guys live so long that you know most individuals that are there. Most of these folks are below your station. Actually, almost everyone's probably below your station. So any engagements that you would like to have are fine, or you can just talk amongst yourselves in terms of making plans for the morrow.
I'll just look around and just say, now which one of you is getting my meal and drink?
I'll cover it.
We'll take that.
Man, hail a gentleman as always. Dawn, how's the little one?
She's been doing well, curious as ever. Always interested in learning how to fight, but she's still young. She doesn't need to know that yet.
How old is she now?
I honestly have no idea.
She is 8 years old. That was something that your wife used to keep track of rather closely, Don. But you yourself, the years just fly by.
Yeah.
I always have to think back too.
I always have to ask my mother.
Well, fighting's in her blood. She's gonna ask. She's gonna want to do it.
She should start her training in the next year or so, shouldn't she?
Probably. But that's only if I remember how old she is in a year.
She'll remind you.
By that age, our young ones are out ready to go, converse with dragons.
How big of dragons do they converse with?
Usually the small ones.
Generally a good starting point.
This is actually quite true. The Ispalini's children are probably larger than most Stuhians, even at 9 years old, in terms of their growth. And so they're quite big to be out there to wrestle. But for Stuhians, even though you guys may start some physical training in your younger years, even between the ages of 8 and 12, they don't actually start being able to wield magic until after puberty, and they kind of perfect that and grow into it into late adolescence, where then they stop aging and only the magic begins to age them after that point. So she won't actually have, Nadezhda won't have access to magic for about 5-6 more years.
Just enough time for a proper foundation.
Speaking of wormlings and such, so what is the plan for tomorrow?
Well, I actually have orders to head towards the crossroads first thing tomorrow morning, along with some of my men to deal with some Vakari. If you guys are interested in joining that expedition, we can go deal with that quickly in the morning and move it up on to other business before coming back to the city.
I'd be happy to assist. Healer's always welcome, I'm sure.
Yes, greatly.
Shouldn't present any problem. I've been rather diligent in my work lately, so the Ninth Council won't question if I'm not dealing with any more of the tomes.
My job's not needed most of the time anymore, so I'm good to go.
It is a shame.
I am down to the dregs, as it were. There's not much left.
I was planning to do some sightseeing, but I guess I can cancel those plans.
The nightlife is where it's at anyway. The city is rather dead in the morning.
What time are you marching out?
Dawn.
So, not much nightlife tonight, then, huh?
If we're going to be doing marching, we might need some more nightlife.
Hopefully the fish will sit well with you tonight, and you'll be able to get good sleep.
Should see the food we eat back home. This'll be a pleasantry.
That is honestly terrifying.
Is that so?
So as you guys are conversing, you will have Proden return back with your food, delivering it piping hot, full cups of each one of your drinks. There's no shyness in the quantity in which they're providing to you. He lays that out really quickly, kind of reaches out his hand to collect the coin for the food, so you can take that back, which is really no issue for you guys to be able to cover, or should not be.
Yeah.
So is the fish covered in like a cream sausage gravy?
It is.
I'm thinking like a white sausage gravy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even really thick. It's not even like a thick white paste.
Oh, God.
It's like a really like thin, like more water than it is flour.
And it's sea
It's
bass.
sausage
Yeah,
au
Sea
jus.
bass and cheese.
And cheese.
Some cheese.
That classic
That sounds
combination.
god awful.
Can I turn to him and be like, make the gravy thicker and use my intimidation?
Sure. Roll me a check. You get a +4 on this.
Is it a +4 or a 3?
It's a +4.
Okay, for some reason it only shows a 3.
You get a +4 in addition to what you have for a prime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, 17.
Yeah, so 17.
17.
Yeah, with a 17, like he like stops and freezes, looking at this. I mean, your hand is bigger than his head and probably his neck combined. So he's just like, right away, Sir Isbellini, I will bring it back to my wife and see if she can thicken it up a bit. And he will retrieve the plate again and move back towards the kitchen with it.
Nobody likes thin gravy.
I'm not sure who likes gravy with chicken.
Gravy with...
Or fish.
Well, I'm
sorry.
not eating chicken, so it's okay.
So while the other three of you are enjoying your meal, the door of the pub will open. 3 individuals will come through that will immediately catch your eye. They are all sitting members on the 9th Council. First off is Karina Kluk. She is also a void magic user, much like Mihail. She has orangish, bright red hair that is pulled up into a bun on top of her head. She's got really icy blue eyes that are very piercing, and she quickly scans the pub and sees the lot of you sitting over there with Eretmir. At her side is Jeronim Assad. He is the son of Serena. He has long red hair, goes well past his shoulders, a full thick beard, also blue eyes, but not quite as bright as Karina. He is dressed in his leather armor that is padded with a blue tinge of color to it. Has a very strong sense of arrogance about him, just standing straight up and looking around the room. He doesn't seem to notice you as quickly as Karina does. He actually kind of glowers across the way, almost looking past you in the opposite direction to see the voivode. And you see his jaw tense just slightly at the sight. And then the third member who comes into the room is Marcel Malik. And he, I'm trying to think of a good way of even describing this. He is probably the most pompous ass that you guys know on the 9th Council. Very cocky, long hair that is red, much like Jeronim's. It's pulled back over his ears in a ponytail. He's also wearing a blue, which seems to be pretty prominent among 9th Council members, and also wearing his armor. He's got a smirk on his face as he sees you, and immediately starts moving in your direction with the other two following at his heel. It is Jeronim who doesn't really realize that you guys are there till about halfway across, and then realizes the engagement that's about to take place. And so he tries to stiffen up really quickly, like, oh, we're doing this now. Marcel comes up and realizes, well, look at who has come to eat at the local pub and spend their coin, and yet I don't think I've collected you guys' taxes this week for the 9th Council. Surely you have your payments ready to pay homage?
Of
So,
course, you
as
merely
they're-
need to come and collect it.
As they're approaching, I am going to wave at Pardon for, I'm going to ask for another round. As they're approaching, and I will point at them. Back to your question, as probably that was part of my job before the switch.
Mm-hmm.
What I know, it's collected at the household, not typically at the person, and that's typically done where I know where they start and all that stuff. So I would probably have a good idea if it was already collected from us or not. Maybe.
It actually has not been collected from you yet, but you are correct. This is typically not something done in a public establishment or even on the streets. It's something that they come to the home and collect it from you, or maybe even come by your work to collect it if they can't catch you at home. But this is clearly an attempt to instigate in the area. You also know that is 5 gold pieces a person for the weekly tithing. For this is what they're asking from you. You will see that the pub keeper will recognize immediately what's going on and like nod and raise his hand up in the air. And so as he's going back to check on the Ispalini's food, he's also going to grab a round of drinks for everybody. And Don, if you would repeat again what you had said as they asked for the tithing.
Of course, you only need to come by and grab it. Take it. I'm not going
This is
to
hardly
seek
the forum for
I'm
this.
not going to seek you out to give you what you are due. If you want it, you need to come and take it.
I appreciated the Ninth Council's tenacity, but typically that's done at the home or at work, not in a dinner setting, unless things have changed, and you know you're needing to do that in this way. I would hope not, but I can offer some assistance if you need help with books or anything like that.
So he is a bit taken aback. Like, immediately, hearing Don, like, he opens his mouth to respond, like, almost getting halfway out of... Don's like, you can come and take it. And he's like, you want me to put my hand in your pocket and pull the money out itself? Like, he's like, trying to, like, process, like, if there's an insult in that and what exactly is being told to him. And then your gesture as well and what you're saying... he finds that easier to respond to. He's like, many things are changing, Sir Conamaria. You should be aware of that. And we do not need your type assisting us within the Ninth Council. We're perfectly capable of doing our jobs without your assistance.
So maybe your communication skills are in need of some review so that you can let people know when changes take place and that you are intending to come and take tithes from public houses while we're sitting enjoying dinner with a preferred guest from another land.
Adamir kind of burp with that.
He like his jaw tenses, like, and you can see his eyes squint. Is like he's trying to find the right response to counter either one of you, and you see him kind of shift his eyes over the back of his shoulder towards Karina, like he's looking for help. And Geronome, who's known you guys well. I mean, he is a child that has played with you for all of your years growing up with the other children of the Carrion Council. Is almost embarrassed. Like there's like this apologetic look in his eyes, but also this firmness of him trying to like hide it behind this facade of being with this new group of believers. But Karina will be the one who steps forward and be like, let's not make a fuss. These changes take time, and it takes work for us to find the balance again that we owe to all the people. I apologize for the intrusion, but if you would be willing to pay your tithing so that we can move on and get Marcel a drink, it'd be appreciated.
You can come and retrieve them from my home or from work. I will not dignify it in a public house.
Appreciate that, Don. Will you be at home in the morning for us to come by?
If you catch me early enough.
Now, by all means, what time would that be? Are you planning on being somewhere outside of the library at the temple?
My dealings are not really your concern, are they? If you wish to get your tithe, then come in the morning and retrieve it.
Well, they're not our concern quite yet, but I imagine that will soon be changing. Anyone else wanting us to hunt you down like rabbits in a briar patch in the morning?
Well, Lorena, my dear, as much as I would love for you to hunt me down, I actually have a rather busy schedule, believe it or not, tomorrow. I'll go ahead and pay my tithe and my mother's. just right now. And I do believe the barkeep is coming with your drinks. That's on me.
Jared
And I'll hand her.
Jared will lean forward. That's quite kind of you, Sir Khan. Thank you.
And I'll hand her, I guess, 10 gold, because it's 5 a person.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Recommend. I do recommend, as Don mentioned, letting the people know. That's quite the change on him, and with so many going around, that's liable to leave a bad taste in some mouths. But I do hope you have a pleasant evening.
At that point, Marcel will be a little quick to the punch, like he's finding his breath again. He's like, things would go a lot smoother if your parents would just step down off their high seats and accept the inevitable. He's going to look at Don. They need to turn over their books to be burned and turn back to you, and turn over your artifacts to be held by those within our temple.
Oh, Marcel, you misunderstand. They're not my artifacts. The Archon holds priority over those. Not me, I just catalog.
Jared,
if you want them, you need to talk to the Archon.
Jared will lean forward. He's got you there, Marcel.
I'll lean forward and just be kind of... I'm puzzled with, is the Ninth Council so, hurting for money that they have to collect taxes to buy their drinks at the alehouse?
So it would seem.
We don't use this money for our drinks. This goes back into the coffers. It goes back towards the Archon. It's how we build this city up.
Oh, my confusion when you said that you needed to collect the taxes so you could go buy a drink.
You did say that.
Marcel, you're making a fool of us. And before Mihail even has a chance to respond, who's kind of like stayed removed from this conversation, who's also in a unique place with his father so much on the highest seat among the Ninth Council, and his uncle who oversees the armies, his voivode and his soldier will come up behind them on either side. His soldier is Rockdon. He's a skilled man with an axe, and of course Damard, who's the older one, who is a wielder of sacred magic, and he will speak up towards Mihail. Sir Mihail, is there something that you need from us? Assistance so you can enjoy your meal?
That won't be necessary, Damard. Our friends from the Ninth Council seem to believe that disturbing our dinner here is the right opportunity to collect their tithe. We were telling them that they can meet us in the morning if they wish. You go back to your meal for now.
Yeah, I'm only a few feet away if you need me, sir.
Of course. Thank you. Then I will look at... let's go with Karina. And say that if you wish for the tithe, then you can come to my home before dawn in the morning. Otherwise, you can find it in the afternoon.
I appreciate your willingness. I know change is not easy for us, but it is a necessary thing for our people in order for us to survive.
I agree.
Come, Marcel, stop making such a fuss. Go find a table and enjoy the drinks that Sir Khan has bought for you. And with that, you're going to see that he has been outranked to some degree with the Klooks. And also familiar to you is that Karina is not the only Klook on the Ninth Council. Her brother also sits with her. And so many times the two of them hold more authority in the sayings of what legislations are being passed and how things are occurring because of that prominent place that they have on the Ninth. So Marcel will glower, his pride struck a little bit as he moves away and finds his way to a table. Karina will dip her head to all of you in unison just one time, also moving away. And Jeranon will lean forward and say, I know this is rough. My apologies. It'll all be over soon, I'm sure.
I'm sure.
and he too will go join the others at a table.
I feel like we should order them each an order of the fish.
I can't imagine.
Make sure they use the first gravy.
Yes, they only deserve thin gravy.
And as quick as it started, it has died back down again, diffused. You will have Prodan will come out, and he will deliver their drinks first to them, which almost seems insulting to the prominent guest of the Ispalini in the tavern, but recognizing the ranking of the Ninth Council as they continue to rise in town, it seems natural for him to respond in this way. And then he will quickly then bring the fish back over to the table, still steaming hot. You see that the gravy has not only been thickened, that it has now been placed on the fish twofold of what it was before.
So
And you find an
an
extra slab of fish in addition to the first. So two.
Oh, you got a double helping.
Hey,
You get 2 pieces of cheese in there too.
Only one piece of cheese.
a little skimpy on the
Awesome.
cheese.
Cheese is
Less
hard.
cheese,
They're gonna
the
get a
fish
bad
ratio
Yelp
is
review.
better. Gonna hire a crier?
Yeah. Well, that was fun.
I fear we'll be seeing a lot more of that as time goes by and the Ninth gains
I
more
agree.
power.
I do, partly because I think it'd be hilarious, and partly because you're at least capable away from your homes tomorrow on the way out tonight. Drop the coin on the table.
That was my intent. It will be easier.
Yeah. Plus, might sting a little bit for Marcel.
Well, since I don't give a tithe, I'll probably just leave the fish head.
That's probably not necessary, but funny no matter what.
This is true. The Ispalini is not beholden to tithe to the church within there. So are you saying that you guys, as you leave the tavern, are going to leave the money on their table as you're walking out?
Yeah, I'll be paying it probably in lesser coins and just kind of like tossing a pile on the table for them.
Give him a bag of 5 gold worth
There's
of
no
copper.
bag. It's just a fistful of loose coins that end up on the table as I walk away.
You have Prodan give you change in copper for
It's
gold.
like going paying pennies and just see how many I can go there. Yeah.
Oh wait, I have 2 fish heads because I got 2 pieces of fish.
You
So,
don't.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I obviously paid mine, so.
Mhm.
I'll wait for them to come find me tomorrow.
All right. Anything more for our pub scene? The night is growing late. You guys still have a little bit of time before morning comes. Any final preparations that need to be made before morning?
Don probably actually won't stay all that late. He'll wrap up his meal and then pay them the tithe before he heads off so that he can see Need before bed and put her to bed and that type of thing. So he'll probably have a relatively early evening.
Hold on just a second.
I guess if you need any Ispalini bedtime stories, I can give you a few.
Is that something that Don is interested in and having the Ispalini come and tell me some bedtime
that was an
stories?
offer for Don. I didn't catch that.
No, he meant more like to give you the stories, not to come read them to, or not to tell them to your kid. He was like, give you the stories.
This is Aratmir. He'll be reading you a story tonight. That won't be necessary, I don't think.
She's like the size of his femur.
It's a
Can
shame
I-
they're meant to give them nightmares so that they grow up to be tougher.
Could I attempt to listen to Karina's conversation from the table we're at?
Sure.
What do you want me to roll for that?
So, for you to be able to utilize that, there's a couple of things you can do. You can either utilize elemental magic like sky magic to try to like funnel air in order to like give yourself access that information to kind of like funnel the words and pull them to you so you can hear them. Or you could do something with like void magic to kind of give like a force area towards it. I think your challenge is going to be able to roll an intelligence check of wielding the magic to not have it be picked up on if you want to do this specifically, because they're all magic users too. And so it's a skill check so that they don't pick up on you trying to eavesdrop. If you want to just try to eavesdrop without utilizing magic, then it's going to be a wisdom check.
Okay. Do I know what kind of magic these three specialize in? I know you said Karina was void magic.
You do. So Karina is void magic, like yourself. You're going to know that 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞, like his mother, is primal magic, something that neither of you three wield. So he uses primal magic, which is like a connection with nature. And then Marcel is actually a healer. He uses sacred magic, like 𝐸𝐵𝐾. So no one in this group uses profane magic like Dawn in your party.
Okay.
In fact, no one on the entire Ninth Council uses profane magic.
And what was profane magic?
It's like necromancy magic. It's like the darkest of magics. It's not the rarest. Sacred is the rarest magic. But there has been a lot of talk from the Ninth Council about how profane magic is evil, or that it comes specifically from Marhina and not from Volos. And so it's from people that are too connected to the Frozen Witch. And so they have not allowed people with profane magic to sit on their council.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to try and use some wind magic.
Okay. So just be 1 mana for you to be able to utilize that, and you're going to need an intelligence check.
Okay, I think I grabbed from here. And this is a prime stat.
Yep. All right, so you are going to be successful in rolling that. And who's keeping track of mana being used by party members? Is that Greg?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you're able to cast this magic. You're able to use wind magic to essentially pull the words towards you in order for you to hear them. It's just 1 mana for you to be able to utilize that. And you're going to hear a conversation specifically between Marcel and Karina. 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞 is staying quiet during this. And Marcel is asking, how much longer is it going to be before our next law comes down, before it starts being pushed out? We need to make these changes swiftly, quickly, before the Vucari start attacking, so that they can see that we may not be enemies forever. If we can bridge this, then it may stop the wars between us and the Vucari. And Karina will tell you, or tell him, the conversation has been had with the Archon in the next couple of days. I have spoken with his son, that we hope to outlaw dragon killing here very soon. And if the Vucari understand that we are no longer killing the precious beasts that are not only honored by Volos but also them, that may give them pause in wanting to slaughter our people. So this type of conversation is occurring back and forth as they talk about the creed or the declaration of making killing dragons illegal within Leirheim among the Stuhians in the next couple of days.
So, pretty sure I'm going to give a bit of a start when I heard them say they're looking to broach peace with the Vucari. Like, I'm eating, acting nonchalant, and I'll kind of stop. You know, my eyes will widen a little bit before I go back to normal when I hear that. And I'll probably wait until the morning when we're traveling before discussing this with the other three. I'll just keep this under my hat for now.
Okay. In the course of that conversation, 2, you will hear Marcel say, "We have to keep pushing the information that the 𝐮𝐤𝐤𝐴ns are not meant to be called dragon killers. We should be called dragon men. They have to understand that it is Volos that gave us this power, and he sees us as his children just as much as the dragons. We must be known as dragon men. We can no longer be called dragon killers." So that is the third piece of information you're going to pick up on them talking about in relation to this law and the rhetoric that they are attaching to it.
Okay. That is very unsettling to me.
A little bit. But I didn't hear any of it.
Other things you would like to do before you guys call it in for a night? It sounds like Don's heading out a little bit early. Not sure if he comes or goes before this moment.
I almost got the impression I probably left before that.
Okay.
That's fine.
𝐸𝐵𝐾 will do what he feels is necessary for a foreign visitor. Make sure he, has appropriate place to stay, all that stuff. 𝐸𝐵𝐾 may sit there and hear a few of those bedtime stories.
You're coming to my house.
In the tavern. In the tavern.
Oh.
Not
You coming home with me? I want to hear the stories.
Gonna snuggle up together and you're gonna tell
Yeah.
me sweet, sweet stories.
That's especially funny to me because 𝐸𝐵𝐾 has a long family history of same-sex relationships that forged their children. He's actually 4th generation within his family, being the firstborn son among all the family members. So that's just hilarious in the way that was worded.
Yeah. Not intended, but, whatever.
Come home
I'm
and
gonna
read me a
need some more
story.
fish.
And some more wine.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, his sleeping arrangements, he actually has lodgings in the temple. So you can go back and make sure that is set up for him in the temple. There will be lodgings there for him, which is something that's typical of emissaries coming on the behest of the Carrion Council to then stay in rather nice lodgings there within the 3-story building. That is probably the most spectacular, beautiful building of all of them. The 9th Council temple towards Volos is actually still kind of being built. And so that's why they haven't collected all the items out of the ferretry, or even all the manuscripts, is because they don't have a place to hold all of them. In fact, some of their worship services are actually occurring away from that, even outside of town, where they first started a number of years ago with some of the 𝐮𝐤𝐤𝐴ns. But why they haven't collected everything is because their temple is still being built, which is supposed to be grander than what the Carrion Council has.
Mm.
So, with them rushing, giving him issues about handing over the artifacts, they don't even have anywhere to put them?
Correct.
Okay. Just making sure that guy was an idiot.
Yeah.
Before I leave the tavern for the night, I'm going to flag Domard and inform him of the changes for the expedition in the morning. The inclusion of our fine guest here, and my companions from the table, and then the people that they already tapped to come out will just be split between 2 groups led by him and Jorik? What was his name?
I gotta pull up your sheet, make sure I get it right.
Jarek. I was close.
Jarek. Yeah. So he's, again, the aging impacts the brain as well as the body when you're casting. So he's going to say, just to be clear, sir, we're going to approach the crossroads in 3 groups and then fan out across the area, with me taking one group one way and Jarek taking another, and you and your companions holding the center, and see if we can find out where exactly this encampment is located.
Yes.
Oh, very good, sir. And one thing that you know about Domard especially is that he is a strong Carrion loyalist. Very dedicated to Marhina. He is old. He's been around for a while, and like most that use sacred magic, he's very devout to Marhina. You're not so sure about Jarek.
Okay.
You feel like Jarek has his eyes on the Surtur, on your uncle, and has that connection that he sees that as a way forward to him to eventually moving into even a Sir position to be able to command his own set of troops and his own voivodes.
Well, if he does well, he might get my recommendation.
Oh, good.
As long as I don't have to kill him first.
Let's hope that's not the case. But I don't know.
When you get a promotion, I kill you.
Spoken like a true Caligula.
You are speaking like a true Caligula.
Trying to figure out how evil and bloodthirsty I should be.
The Caligulas are renowned for being quite bloodthirsty and quite evil. They do it within the realm of the law, but there's not much that they won't do.
That's kind of what I got from the descriptions you gave me.
All right, so we will then be able to have everyone go and rest. You guys are able to drop your coin on the table to those that are seeking that for your tithing, going to your own places of residence, resting overnight. Dawn will come, the sun will rise. It always rises a bit late in 𝐸𝐴𝐻𝐼𝐻 because you have the shade fells that are off to the east and the south that oftentimes delay the morning sun from coming up. So actually, dawn for some of you means like well before the sun comes up. For others, it may mean when the sun crests the mountains, but that may really be closer to like 9-10 o'clock in the morning. And during the winter, it may mean that you don't see the sun until like 1 in the afternoon. So
Okay. So I want to clarify something given that information. We're leaving at dawn, so before the sun comes up. And I told Karina to come to the house before sunrise.
Mm-hmm.
I just want that to be clear.
So you are wanting to engage with Karina in the morning.
No,
Or
I just
are
told
you
her that if she...
Oh.
I'm leaving, first thing in the morning. I told them if they want their money, they can show up before the sun rises. If not, it'll wait till the evening.
So it is your intent to bypass them in the morning.
Yes, I will be gone before they show up.
All right. I'm good with that. I just want to be clear. All right. So you're
Yes,
gonna bypass
that's why I
them in the
wanted to
morning.
clarify.
All right.
Lovely.
So any arrangements in the morning before you guys head to the front gates to meet up with the groups that have been pulled together by Mihail's voivodes?
I believe I would probably go and meet Eretmir at the temple and travel with him to the gate, since he's an honored guest.
Okay. And Eretmir has brand new axes waiting at the temple. Are we collecting those and handing them out at this time, or are you allowing your soldiers to use the older axes that they currently have in possession?
I think we should bring enough axes for the group that's going with us.
Well, they have their own. These ones are just newer.
Yeah, no, we'll take the new equipment with us to give to who's going, and the rest of it will be distributed later.
And to be clear with those axes, they are bronze weapons. Eretmir's people did not make them themselves. They actually import them from who are called the 𝐷𝐸l that live further to the south and are quite skilled in metallurgy. And so they were actually traded to them, and then they trade them up to you guys for a higher price. So they themselves
That's
don't
fair.
do a lot of work themselves in terms of creating weaponry.
And since we need it, can't make our own, they're charging us an exorbitant price.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Which is probably so frustrating to you, Mihail, as a leader of armies, that it was outlawed to make weapons in your own town among your own people.
Yeah, because that is just a huge oversight when it comes to military matters.
Mm-hmm. So, anyone with that, just so I can give this piece of information, I'd like to see some intelligence rolls across the board, intelligence checks, to see who might know this information of why this was outlawed.
All I know is it was good for business for us.
That is what you know, Aramir. Yeah, with a 4, Aramir, you're like, I don't know. I just know it's putting money in my people's pocket.
It's the dumbest thing I ever heard.
Or the smartest for us.
𝐸 as well was not really sure the full pieces that went into it.
Yeah.
You've been caught up a lot in cataloging what magic items you have, and you know that they just are not being created anymore. But for Dawn, who's very nose deep in the books, knows the history of this, and Mihail, who's been impacted by it, with their rolls of a 17 and a 14, they know that for Stuhians, whenever they craft any type of armament, weapon, or put their magic into any type of trinket, this imbues it with magical energy. And that trinket or item, whatever it is, actually cannot be destroyed unless you slaughter the creator with the weapon that was made. So if a weapon is made, the only way to destroy that weapon is by killing its creator with that weapon. And so it ended up causing a lot of distrust and a lot of animosity amongst Stuhians. And sometimes you saw the magical properties that were embedded within whatever was created didn't necessarily do what it did. In fact, sometimes there was like an outsurge of negative magical energy, or it would destroy a particular people or areas, or put off like necrotic energy, and it could destroy people's lives. It could injure people or hurt people, and the only way to get rid of that weapon was by killing the person that made it with it. And so it became a real deficit to the people, which is one of the reasons why it ended up being outlawed.
It became really complicated when blacksmiths started making sewing needles.
Yeah. I gotta stab the blacksmith with this needle to destroy it, and this needle just happens to fire, force energy in all directions every 20 minutes. And
See, an indestructible needle would be great. The force energy, not so much.
Yeah. Well, that was what was happening, is that some of these would start becoming like cursed items. They would have negative effects that would impact those around it, and the only way to get rid of it was by killing the person with it, which is terrible. If you create a cup, that does something terrible, you gotta beat someone to death with the cup they made.
Not if you're Riddick.
No,
Yep.
You just cut their heart out. Very easy.
Yeah, so that's the knowledge of what Mihail and Dawn know. They know that's part of what led to this, but it was the Ninth Council that pushed this agenda with the Archon and got the legislation passed.
So they outlawed all weapon making because sometimes people made artifacts with magic.
Weapons were always made with magic, it's just sometimes they had negative effects. Yeah,
which is what 𝐸
They don't know how to make anything without magic?
Yeah, it's an inevitable process.
It's a passive ability. It's a passive thing.
Yeah. They can't make weapons without magic, is the issue.
Gotcha.
It's so much a part of them, it imbues into whatever they do.
I got you, okay.
All right, so any other preparations before you guys head out?
No, I don't believe so.
I'll just be breakfasting with my family before I head out. But
yeah, making sure that your mother is taking care of need.
Yeah, not leaving her locked in a room again.
Before
with servants,
Erdemir went to bed, he did write some stories down on some paper for you. So in case you were interested in reading them to her.
I'm sure that she'll be fascinated by them.
One thing I want to point out,
legible?
Mihail has damage to him on the combat tracker.
Ah, let me fix that. That's from last week.
Oh, doing testing such last week?
Slapping Mihail because he deserved it. No, that makes sense.
Sounds about right.
Lined him up and just started laying into him. Let's see. Okay, so...
and when did you shit? Oh, sorry.
When did you shit?
No, when did he share his information from what he learned at the tavern?
Oh, as you guys were leaving the city, he said he was cheering as you guys were walking.
Yeah, after we leave the city, heading out to the crossroads.
Because Erdemir is going to be like, what? About the not slaying dragons. I mean, I think he kind of... Didn't we already kind of know something like that was coming, though? That's why
that's what they've been moving towards.
Not in-game, necessarily.
I thought they were moving towards the whole friendship and dragons thing. Like
you guys
not supposed to.
Maybe you guys have heard rumors of it, but you weren't really sure.
Because I thought that was the point of them telling us not to bring back the dragon carcass, and that because we knew that was kind of moving that way.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the whole making peace with the Vucari, that can't happen.
Yeah, you all have literally been... I need to pull up my thing here. John mentioned it earlier, so you might have it actually closer. You all have been warring with the Vucari since... 2022 of the Ageless Era, so almost 700, over 700 years, about 725 years you've been warring with the Vucari at this point.
And would the Ispalini also be against the Vucari?
The Ispalini aren't necessarily motivated about anything with the Vucari. You're happy to help, like, killing them and fighting them. But they're so far away from you guys, you don't really have much interaction with them, except for when you come up to Leierheim. Again, you don't have a problem killing the Vucari, but you would much rather fight dragons and monsters than the Vucari. But if it's part of what you're doing here in your emissary work, and it's a necessary means to the end, you're like, all right, give me the axe, I'll cut him down. Just point me to a dragon afterwards.
Okay. I also just suggest that maybe... my people, when we're fighting them, sometimes we like to give them a special hello. And maybe we should give the Vucari, if we find them, a special hello once we've defeated them to remind them that we are still enemies, given the knowledge you've heard.
I'm terrified to even ask. What is a special hello?
Well, a proper display of maybe their bodies when they're dead. Just so that any others that see them will know that what we've done.
On that note, do the Styuhians have any religious or ideological stipulations on messing with the dead? Like, would cutting off the Vucari heads and putting them on pikes, would that be too much for a Styuhian?
That would not be too much for the Styuhian.
Okay.
No.
In fact, you guys done your fair share.
Yeah, you've done your fair share. You would even... The Vucari live on the island of Rian, that is above Sadisdar, across the Nebu Sea, and so they always come down and travel across their boats, or they will shapeshift into fish of some sorts to swim across and then come onto shore for their invasion. And one of the things that has been a regular tactic that's kind of lost its appeal or its effectiveness is that you guys would put the heads along the shore on spikes for areas where you knew that they would cross, and trying to keep them from continuing to come across. And it's not worked.
So the whole grotesque display thing doesn't really do anything at all at this point.
It seems as though it burns a fire in them more than anything.
But what Erdemir is trying to get at is if they're trying to sue for peace or get peace from them, the more that we tick them off, the less likely they're going to want to have peace with us. You know, when they're coming in like, we want peace with you. Well, look what you've done to our people. And it's not illegal yet, so
I like the way
it's a great message.
How do they feel about scalping as a whole?
The Vucari?
Yeah.
They would probably not be fans of it. And
why would they be like, yeah, no, that's fun. How do they feel about it?
We do that on a weekend.
Well, are they particularly offended? You know, like Apache
I feel
Indians,
like
you take their scalp, that's taking their honor.
I feel like any mutilation is probably not well received.
Yeah.
Sometimes we cut their
You just
heads
don't
off and
know.
Why don't
cut their heads off and put their hands in their mouth.
we'll go through a variety and see what sticks.
Can we get a survey from them? Could you
Yeah,
mark
we need
on 1
some
to
focus
5?
groups here.
Good
We'll
We
leave
need to
one or
capture
two
about
alive.
15, 20.
I'm so glad that you guys are the future, or were the future of the Carrion Council seats. Sit on there and pass legislation. All right, so you guys will travel throughout the day. Finding your way to the crossroads is not difficult to kind of find your way to that space itself. As you guys get to the crossroads, you're going to follow through with the plan. So Mihail will be able to send Jarek and the axemen, or some of the axemen and bowmen in one direction, and then he will send his other voivode in the other direction with some axemen, and you guys will head down the center of the path in hopes of finding this Vucari encampment and see where they may be holed up exactly. As you guys are traveling along, I think that I just want I want to say maybe a wisdom check from you guys to kind of look for signs as you're moving along. For 𝐿_Demir, who may have already rolled, you probably have a +4 on this.
Well, if I'm using my deer stalker, I don't have to roll.
Oh, that is true. Yeah, with your D.
I just do it. It's what I do.
I have my mana back from the tavern, right?
Yes, you guys have slept. I can put you in a long rest. Maybe. One of these is going to do it.
You're just moving down the turn order.
Yeah. I got to figure out where it is in this version.
Speaking of, where is my health? Oh wait, never mind. I think I found it.
I see it. All right,
I lost
so
it on the character sheet.
as you guys are moving towards the crossroads, 𝐿_Demir is not going to have any trouble kind of finding some different animal tracks in the area moving about. There's also some humanoid tracks that are mixed in with those. We will see that 𝐥𝐤 also has the ability to be able to track these down and find them, as well as Dawn. Mihail's having a little bit more difficulty. He's probably more interested in trying to keep track of his two different groups that are moving out, making sure they're far enough out that it's not going to, you guys aren't going to step on each other's toes. You actually have the ability as well, which we haven't talked about this too much, but to step into what's called the shadow world and communicate with your voivodes from time to time. In fact, everybody that is a Styuchian has this ability to essentially sit down and meditate and step outside of their body and go walk into the shadow world to communicate with other people in the shadow world. And so sometimes they will communicate with themselves this way across large distances. But you're making sure that they're far enough out and are going in the right directions. You guys are able to make a nice fan across the crossroads to look for this encampment. So, as you guys are moving along, approaching the crossroads, you all are going to see this open clearing with a tree that is set up in the middle. And nearby down the road, you guys can see a man that is kind of standing outside of this ingress of a cave that's heading into the side of a cliffside that's rather close towards the seaside of the area. There's a lot of foliage that started to really grow and kind of sprout up in the area. The leaves are turning green on the trees. Like I said, we are late spring coming into early summer, where these battles between the Vucari and the Styuchians have begun. With you guys' checks, everyone save 𝐥𝐤, everyone save Mihail, is going to notice that there are a couple of birds that are perched up in the tree. And again, the singular individual that is standing outside of the ingress. It does not appear that the person outside of the ingress has made note of you. However, one of the birds is looking in your direction. You guys have about a half second. You see it starting to open its mouth to caw, for those of you that are aware.
So there's nothing visible on the map. Can you...
I can
Just
see.
I can see him.
I don't see anything on the map except for us.
Are you on the right map?
I'm on the map that just popped up, Crossroads, Flayerhide.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I see
I was
the
having
enemies.
the same problem on the tavern map. I only saw about half the people he was describing.
Huh.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I can see everybody. The map's completely open.
Is there maybe a thing in your settings, John, with your character that I don't have visualization for you that I need to look at?
I don't think that's a really thing in Fantasy Grounds.
Okay.
I mean, there's nothing hidden on the map. It's just there's no tokens on the map.
But everyone else can see the tokens but John?
Mm-hmm.
I see
Yeah.
3 of them, yes.
Yeah, there's just
2
three of
birds
them.
and a dude.
Yep.
Okay, I closed the map and opened it back up and they popped up.
Okay.
That's weird.
So you said who sees the birds?
Everyone but Mihail.
Everyone but Mihail.
Yeah, everyone but Mihail is going to see these 2 birds sitting in the tree, as well as a man that is standing closer towards the ingress.
Do I notice the man?
You do not. You are oblivious with your roll of a 7.
I'm gonna take my crossbow and shoot the bird.
All right, roll me an attack roll. So 𝐸𝐸 coming up at actually a little bit on the rear. I think if you guys, he sees that bird, its mouth starting to open, immediately pulls up that crossbow, and roll me an attack roll.
Is that right? Yeah, that's probably right. I don't know.
Yeah, so you're with an 11. That arrow just zips right by the branches, spins past the bird, and misses. For Eretmir or Dawn, anything that you guys want to do as you're walking up?
I feel like the twang of the crossbow probably alerted everyone anyway.
I'm giving you guys that half second before.
Can we? I think the map is locked, but Erdemir will. He doesn't have anything ranged enough to hit the bird.
Mm-hmm.
But he's going to kind of move across the field. I don't know. Can we see like this area? I mean, I see on the map like there's a big cave opening, and so it just to him it looks like that's a natural place where there might be more, and trying to cut them off from getting back there.
Sure.
So he would use his full movement. Let's see.
Yeah, you can move 40 feet around, so you're going to use a double movement, you're saying?
Yes. He's just going to sprint this way to start heading towards someone he can hit that's not up in a tree.
Okay, so Eretmir is using his full movement. If you use a double movement, you could actually probably get all the way behind the man that is standing in front of the ingress, unless you're just wanting to move halfway across and pause.
Is that so? 40 is my full movement, or I can go 80?
If you're running, you can use 80 or even 120. Yeah.
Well,
it's just you just
here.
won't have an action.
Yeah, then I'll just get here behind him.
All right. Yeah, so you run all the way up, using your double movement to get behind him. Don, any actions that you want to take?
I'll go ahead and use 𝐵𝐵𝐿 to use sky magic to fling a rock at the bird on the limb.
All right.
Which I believe is just a save, right? On its part.
Can you get 2 birds with 1 stone?
I don't think so.
Let me pull this up. I know what you're asking me, John. 1 sec.
It's just the type of save that they need to roll, but I believe that you're only doing saves, so there's nothing that I need to roll on my part. And I'm only wanting to use like 1 mana on this.
Okay. Yeah, so you have either a stone next to you or a stone underneath the tree that you're aiming for?
I don't know that it matters too much, just one that seems to be the right size to fling.
Okay, and there's 2 birds on the tree. Which one are you aiming at? The one that's on the lower branch or the one on the higher branch?
The one that was looking at us.
Okay, excellent. So you fling that rock up from the ground using 1 mana. The bird is not expecting this. This rock flies through the air just at rocket speed, which doesn't exist this time.
Rocket speed.
Yeah,
I see what you
rocket speed. And hits the bird directly in the head, kills it on the spot, and it falls to the ground motionless. As it falls to the ground, you see its body melt away, the feathers shedding onto the ground, and it extends out into a young man with dark hair and dark eyes, pale skin, and he lays there with the side of his head caved in from the rock that had struck him.
Okay.
All right. And with that, we are going to roll initiative to come into the round. Aramir has ran into the fray. 1 Vucari dead. And an arrow or a bolt fired into the heavens.
A 3 is bad. Alright, just so I know.
Yeah. We're backwards again.
We're backwards again.
But it's better than a 2.
It is better than a 2.
But no one rolled a 2, so yeah.
Nobody rolled a 2 though, so. Hey, that's
right,
fine. The
Aramir
healer
looks
should
like
go last.
he's got to be ready. So Aramir, looks like you are first up in the round of combat, rushing up on the Vucari, who is in humanoid form. I imagine you're wielding your bearded axe.
Yes. His 2-handed axe, he's just going to bring it up and he is going to swing it. Am I in any position that I get any bonuses or anything to hit?
I think one-on-one, no. He had been moving
Okay.
with you as you were attacking him. So no.
Fair enough. Ugh.
Oh, yeah, with an 8, that is a miss on him. He is able to dodge it. Alright, the Vucari is has a club that is with him, so he is going to swing that at you in hopes of taking you out before the rest come in. And he swings a 9 and misses you. Now, you're wearing dragon bone armor, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so he's going to swing that. It's going to just ricochet against that armor and do absolutely nothing to your massive frame. Now, as for the bird that is up here, it is going to turn to Eretmir. And the Vucari that's being attacked, it is going to swoop down and come around behind Eretmir to attack. Now, with Eretmir, you get half flanking on you, so it only gets a +1 to the attack instead of a +2.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have 3 attacks. So it is going to try to bite you with its beak. And that is a hit for 1 damage. And then it is going to unleash 2 talon attacks at you, clawing at your back. Ooh, another hit for 1 damage. And then its 3rd attack is a miss. And that is going to put up Mr. Mager.
Well, I can see that Aramir has a bird in his hair.
Pretty regular
And I believe
peckerheads.
I only can move. Can I only move half speed in cast, or is it full speed in cast?
It's half speed and cast.
Half speed in cast. I think I'm gonna double move instead.
Yeah, it looks like that's 60 feet, so you did a double move to run up.
Yeah, I just double move, close the distance.
Alright, so Sir Mihail, you're now very aware of the battle going on around you, as you saw the naked man fall out of the tree with the gaping hole in his head.
Alright, so I think I'm just going to double move.
Alright, so you run forward with the double movement as well, and then that puts up Sircon.
Gonna move half movement. And 𝐸 will shoot another crossbow bolt at the bird.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 𝐸, you raise up that bolt and are able to fire. I mean, you're almost in line with two of your allies, and you just perfectly fire that bolt along both of them and take the bird right out of Aramir's hair, killing it on the spot.
Okay.
Yeah. You murder it where it stands, and it falls dead, again, turning into a slightly older 𝐸 male, right behind Aramir. All right, so now with 2 out of the 3 that have fallen around you, this 𝐸 is going to shapeshift. So this 𝐸, his body sheds away. His bulging muscles come ripping out of his clothing as he turns into a giant ape in front of Aramir. Not standing quite as tall as Aramir, mind you, but pretty intimidating in the moment. And he is going to immediately begin to unleash a whirlwind of attacks on Aramir as he shifts. So he is going to have a bite and a couple of claws that are coming your way, Aramir.
I'm kind of used to it at this point.
Yep. So here's a claw, which misses. Another claw. That misses. And his bite, which also misses. All three just are not able to get through your defenses as you're holding that axe up. And that is going to put up 𝐸.
All right. 𝐸 will move up half movement again. There-ish. I can't really tell with the tiles. And he is going to see this ape, and he is actually going to attempt to aim for the knee.
Oh, okay.
And see if he can slow it or bring it down a little bit. Is where he's going to aim his crossbow. So we raise and fire.
Ooh.
Nice.
Oh, yeah. I was looking to see what the adjustment was for aiming for a particular area
Oh, okay.
on him. But yeah, with a roll of a 19, aiming for the knee, that does maximum damage on that. I mean, that arrow just like hits him right underneath the bone and makes that leg almost completely buckle immediately to have him fall down. At this point, you guys can treat him as being, I would say, somewhat prone. So I'm going to say you guys are going to get a +5 on your attacks against him with that knee buckled like that. That's going to bring up Aramir, the +5 on your attacks.
Aramir's just going to bring his axe up, and he's just going to kind of blow on his axe, and then
leave
he's
him alive.
No, Aramir didn't hear that. But watch me miss. No.
That is a hit. That is a solid hit with a 17. Murdered him. Just brought the axe straight down, cleaved him from the neck straight down to sternum. As you kick him off your axe and pull it free, you again see him shift back into the humanoid form and falls dead there on the crossroads ground.
I can't fix that. I apologize.
Nor why would you want to waste your life away to heal one of these shapeshifters, these skin switchers. So you guys are now standing outside of this large ingress with 3 dead 𝐸 here at the crossroads.
Sorry, can I attempt to retrieve 2 of my 3 bolts that I shot?
Sure.
Currently sticking in the body, so...
Yeah, you'll have no issue pulling those.
Okay.
Can we see any tracks or anything?
There's a lot more tracks leading into the ingress, into the cave there in front of you. So there's definitely been some movement back and forth here. You'd expect to find a greater number inside.
Okay. And are these humanoid tracks, or are these the
Both.
dragon tracks?
Not dragon. You see
Worm-like,
humanoid
I guess.
and animal. Yeah.
Okay.
bird tracks.
This does not appear to be the green dragon lair that you're seeking out. This is
That's about 3 hours south of us, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
that is
Oh,
correct.
that's right.
Mhm.
After the fight, I'm going to approach Eretmir and quite sternly say, I understand that you're a guest in our lands, but this is our fight, and leaving the last alive is how we gain intel and intelligence on the movements of our enemy. In the future, I would appreciate it if you leave the last alive.
And when you're done getting your intelligence, what will you do with them?
Oh, you can kill him afterwards. I just
So
need
what
the information.
incentive is there to give you honest intel?
I have ways that they can't hide from me.
I will try to remember.
Thank you. I'll give him a slight nod.
Eretmir, can you make heads or tails of the trucks coming in? How many do you think are inside?
Well, I know that we can see that there are animal and human, which likely, since they can change form, that's more of them. Exact numbers would probably be hard to tell because just people stepping over, it's going to be difficult if we're not counting steps from the same person. We could cut the heads off the ones we have out here, throw a few in there and see what they do when they see the heads. And as they come out, we kill them as they enter out the cave.
I'm not opposed to not trying to root the rats out of their nest.
Perhaps we should smoke them out of their hole.
That sounds good too. Going into a giant cave with shapeshifters just seems like a bad call.
Do we know? I guess not I per se, but maybe Mihail. This is not too far from the city. You probably have intimate knowledge of this area, this cave, correct?
So Mihail would probably recall that this cave was not known, is what the Surtur had told him, his uncle. He said that he believed that the cave was connected to an underground waterway.
That's right.
That was allowing them to access it and build up a force within. So rooting them out or smoking them out, Mihail would know there's potentially another place of escape for them instead of coming through this opening.
Right.
Okay, so we will have to go in there and weed them out.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like an option choice.
How far away are my voivodes?
So if you wanted to meditate for a moment, Mihail, and step into Klukas, which does not take any mana for you to do, you could go out and scout to find them. You can move at exceptional paces through the Shadow Realm in order to find them and come back.
Okay, I would like to do that and
You just have
communicate
to
with
have
them.
them. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I was just going to say, your body is just very vulnerable when you do that. So your spirit is not inside of your form, which means someone that you trust has to guard over you because you cannot defend yourself once you step into the Shadow Realm.
I believe I trust Sirkan and Dawn.
Eretmir.
Well, I only met Eretmir yesterday, okay?
That's
Well,
fair.
I would just suggest that maybe we move over to the cover of the rock, but well, what do I know?
I would agree.
It's fine. Mihail is going to come back with penis right across his forehead.
What?
The blood of the
Charcoal?
last one that I
Oh,
killed.
okay.
We had magic.
Yeah,
Whatever
I'll
I
spend
wanted
a couple
I think
years
Josh is
doing
tired
that
of
one.
already.
It was worth it. I lost 2 years of my life, but it was worth it. All right, so you're choosing to step into Klukas then?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so you will be able to sit down, find your center, begin breathing, step outside of your body. within this shadowy, veiled world where there's like almost like this blue tint of you moving about. You can almost see like the energy pulsating from a lot of different things around you, but it's very much like you're looking through almost like a really thin sheet that is blue in color as you're moving around in this shadow realm. You can see, 𝐸𝐵𝐾 and Don and everyone standing around you. You can hear their conversations. You know what's happening in real time, but you're able to move exceptionally quick, like 60 feet around, 120 feet around, just flying across the space. And very quickly, you're able to move away, to start to seek out your voivodes and your two companies that are traveling with them, your two scouting parties. The challenge in this is that you can't converse with them unless they too are in 𝐾𝐤𝐤. So you're only able to see where they're at. To actually call on them would require them to step into the Shadow Realm too, or you to have to traverse the distance and get them and bring them back to you.
What about... So I have the message cantrip. Would I be able to communicate with them between realms?
I think I'm going to allow it, but I do want you to roll me a check with it to see how much of the message comes through. Because the way that this comes through is like a feeling. It's almost like you're essentially having... It's like them recalling like this feeling, like it's a dream that's having to materialize in their minds from this other realm to them. So they can hear the message. It's just like, it's more of like they have to bring their awareness to the message and then decipher it type of thing as it's passing through. And so it's...
Are they traveling within 450 feet of where we are?
I would say probably not, no.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to double check. Alright, so which one do I find first? Dorman or Jarek?
Which direction did you go first?
Let's go east.
Yeah, you would have found Dormand first, going east.
Okay. So I want to send a message to him to
So first
join...
coming up on him, you find they have slaughtered about half a dozen of 𝐸𝐾 that are dead on the ground around them.
Oh, nice. Are they still in combat, or are they wrapping
have finished. They're wrapping up. They're piling the bodies up.
Okay. Really, the only message I want to send is for him to meet me in 𝐾𝐤𝐤. 𝐾𝐤𝐤.
Okay, so you're asking for him to step into 𝐾𝐤𝐤?
Yes, so that we can talk.
Okay. Let's see that check.
Yeah,
that is very successful. Yeah, you see him like almost like stiffen up, like you coming up close and that message hitting him, and he quickly gestures to a couple of individuals, including, and I'm going to forget the name now, the man that was in the tavern.
Raynak or something?
Yes, Raynak. He's going to message Raynak, come watch over me. I need to step in and speak with our commander, or with our general, with our sir, and he is going to find a spot to sit. And very quickly, he's able to step right into 𝐾𝐤𝐤 to speak with you. I heard your calling, Sir Mihail. What is it that I can do?
Me and my companions found some 𝐸𝐾 to the west, along with a cave. We believe that is the cave we're looking for, but it seems you've come across some excitement yourself.
Well, we have only a half dozen, though I will say one of them got the drop on one of our bowmen who has since perished. I did not think it worthwhile to waste my years away to heal him, so we let him pass.
It is a grave loss, but one we must suffer.
Did any of... Oh, go ahead.
Did any of the 𝐸𝐾 escape your group?
They did not. We slaughtered all that we came across.
And what signs have you seen in the area?
Minimal at most. I was actually surprised to see such a small group up here, because I usually travel in larger numbers. There is some area of the land that has been compressed, where we can see that they possibly have boats or have come onto shore, or perhaps they turned into fish and swam across. But I can see that they have come across from the north, from the sea, not far from here.
All right. continue on that path. If you not hear back from me within 2 hours, head to the west and try and find the cave that we are going to go explore the cave. If you don't hear back from me in 2 hours, send someone to check us out.
As you command.
Alright, and then I essentially want to do the same thing with Jared.
Okay. So moving across then to the northwest, more to the north than anything, you will eventually come across Jarek. It does not appear that they have been engaged in any combat at this point.
Okay.
He's traversing with his company. They're moving about, checking the area, staying close-knit, but there does not appear to be any signs of battle or anywhere between you and meeting them.
Alright, and do they seem on alert, like they've seen signs, or are they just normal traverse scouting?
Traverse scouting.
Okay.
Of course, this would be closer to 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 and where they're traveling to. I mean, not a great deal, but it's further to the west area towards 𝐤𝐤𝐤𝐤 than where you guys have gone. So
Right.
the cave area
I
maybe as far west as they've gone so far. For the
Okay.
part.
I actually think I'm going to not communicate with Jared.
Okay.
I think I'm going to leave him doing his thing.
All right. So you use one mana then just for the message spell that you cast.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent.
And then after that, I'll return to my body.
Okay. So you come back to your body and wake up. There's always a very strong, gasping energy as you, come back like you're breathing for the first time whenever you come out of Klukas back into your body. So there's a great gasp as you're by the rock coming back to awareness with your group around you.
Mihail, one of your troops.
Seems Domard has come across some Vukari to the west. And Jarek has yet to see anything to the east. Domard is going to continue up north towards the coast and see if the Vukari are coming through by the shores as we check out this cave.
Very good.
So even in this time frame, for those of you that are in the material world, it goes really quick. It's only about 5 or 6 minutes of probably Eretmir pulling the bodies off the path out of the way. You guys checking, over the couple of wounds that he has, which are not severe, and watching over Mihail's body. It's no shock to you that no one has come out of the Ingress yet to inspect, or that maybe the sounds of battle were so quick that they weren't alerted. You guys killed both of the birds before they were able to give out a cry. And I mean, it was 12 seconds. We had a couple of rounds before everything was said and done. So you guys are somewhat relieved that no other Vukari have come out of the cave at this point. But the time has been relatively short.
Eredamir would want to cut off one of the heads.
Are you throwing that into the cave, Eretmir?
Actually, he might use it for intimidation when we get into the fight. He's throwing the head and using that to intimidate him further. So he also wanted to see if anyone wanted to play catch while Mihail was in his trance, but I don't think anyone really wanted to. So
No. I was busy watching out. Maybe next time.
So I imagine our next step then is probably you guys investigating the cave.
Yeah. Do we want to do that tonight?
No, I was going to say this is probably a great spot for us to stop this session. So we will begin that again on session 2. And just a quick thanks to everybody for hanging out and watching this far through for our 9th Ascension episode 1. And we will see you guys during the podcast. What else, John? Like, subscribe, hit the bell button so you guys know when the next episode comes out. And we'll see you guys again next time.
Yep, those are the things you got to say.
All right. Bye.